Howdy, howdy. Welcome on in to the pre-show. Before the free show, my face is really close to that camera.
Yeah, I was going to say.
I gotta back that up.
A snoot full of pickle.
That was
right out of the gates.
That was a lot of dome in one shot.
Yeah, there's a lot going on. Happy Mardi Gras.
Ah, yes.
Today's Mardi Gras. You know how I know that?
How do you know
Because
that?
I'm Catholic.
That's true.
And tomorrow, you got, you get the smudge, and everybody goes, what's the deal with your head? And it's like, it's a whole thing. Palm Sunday, and burn him, and then bless your head. Stuff
This
like
is
that.
like Baby Jesus season part 2.
Kind of is. Yeah, Ash Wednesday's big days. Because that's the thing. As a Catholic, and we're trying to, we're going through like the baptism thing with Max right now and stuff like that. But as a Catholic, we just have religious talk here on a Tuesday.
It's Baby Jesus Tuesday.
Christmas always feels like the Christmas is so much celebration, stuff like that. And I associate being Catholic with kind of feeling bad about myself.
Yeah, like
that's
constantly.
That's why Lent's my jam. Lent's excellent because it's it's just a lot of thinking about all the things you've done.
Yeah.
All the terrible decisions you've made.
And things that you should give up and not do.
Getting the smudge.
Again.
Oh yeah, getting smudged on your head to remind you of
Do
that.
you give something up?
Yeah, I do. Usually I try to give up one or two things, or like I try to add things. You know what I mean? Like I will try to trying to think of like things that I've done in the past. Like I'll try to one thing I appreciated, a friend of mine told me a couple of years ago. He goes, instead of taking something away, add something. And so it's like try to do one nice thing for somebody every day.
Oh,
you know what I mean? Like go out of your way and be like, I'm going to do one kind thing for somebody. So I might do that. I got to figure that out.
Yeah, that'd be great. You can do a nice thing for me every single day.
It'd have to be you.
Yeah, but it would be a lot cooler if it was,
Could
considering the rest of the 360 however many days you're not nice.
Could be anybody. Well, I mean, there's 40 days in one, so
yeah,
325. I thought that when I was in college once, I did.
Were you in college multiple times?
Yeah.
Okay.
One time when I was in college, I should say, I gave up hot showers for Lent.
That is the stupidest thing I've ever heard of.
Okay, but it's
what is wrong with you?
Like the purpose of it, the purpose of the fast, the purpose of giving something up is to, keep something at the forefront of your mind.
Showers is not something that
but
Jesus wants you to change
how
you
do. It
do.
certainly was a jolt every time, and I was like, all right. Like, it was a reminder of why you're doing it.
He
Things
gets
like
in
that.
and he
You know what I mean?
goes,
Because that's the thing. There are people,
this one's for you.
like growing up, giving up chocolate was like the big thing. It's like, I'm going to give up sweets. I'm going to give up chocolate and stuff like that. So then Easter rolls around. Look at all the chocolate and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But, like, you don't actively miss chocolate at every day. Like, I know you're not a sweets person, but, like, you don't.
No, I never miss chocolate, but I see what you're saying. That would be like me giving up Dr. Pepper.
Something like that. You don't act. I mean, like, there would be times during the day where you'd be like, "Ooh, I could really go for one." I can't. You know what I mean? By giving up hot showers, I was able to every day kind of center myself and be like, okay, like,
right?
This is
I don't know.
Should be things like that.
That seems terrible.
I'm not saying it was fun.
Yeah.
But I'm saying it was effective, and I'm also telling you that on Easter I spent about 3 hours in the shower. Just crank that
warmth.
Here's the other advantage of that. I was living in a fraternity house at the time.
Yeah.
And so those were disgusting, so I shouldn't be spending that much time in there anyway. So
I was just going to say, well, that was kind of my thing, is like giving up something that you like. Okay, I get with the chocolate thing. But for, I don't know, giving up something that like you're going to think about multiple times a day, like, oh man, I wish I could do that, but I can't, is different than like, I'm going to go in here, do a quick 2-minute shower, run, get out, and then I'm done with it for the rest of the day. So I don't know if you took the hard way out or the easy way out, come to think of it.
That's interesting. That's an interesting way to think about it.
Because
I'm thinking about it in one way and you're thinking about it in another way.
Yeah. Like you almost made it easier on yourself because you knew you could give yourself 3 minutes of hell a day and it would be okay. And then the rest of the time you were like good and clear.
Maybe.
So I don't know.
But I was always dreading it. You know what I mean? I was always just dreading it. I was thinking about it. Anyway, happy Mardi Gras. I'm sure there's big to do in New Orleans.
Enjoy your last warm shower, folks.
I'm not doing that anymore. But I've only been in New Orleans one time. Went to Bourbon Street. It was not during Mardi Gras.
Oh. I've never been.
It's fine.
Oh,
it's
see,
fine.
We were talking about this in the office the other day. I love New Orleans. Ish and I are both big on the New Orleans train. I've been.
Let me be clear. I loved New Orleans. I thought Bourbon Street was fine.
Oh well, yeah, no, but that's why.
That's what I was saying.
Yeah, that's why we.
Like, I think New Orleans is wonderful.
Yeah.
But that particular part of it is like, it's okay. It's a thing you got to cross off. It's kind of like you go to Seattle, you go to the Space Needle, and you go to
right. Well, most people choose between in the same vein of what like the connotation about those two places are. Most people will say like, oh, are you more of a Vegas person or are you more of a New Orleans person? And Ish and I were both on the New Orleans bandwagon. I know you were quite the opposite way.
I'm a both person at the Theme Expo. Pickle! Hit the air sign. Yes, yo! From the Dave Campbell's Texas Football Mothership here in beautiful Lewisville, Texas. It is Texas Football Today, a show on the internet. My name's Greg Tepper. I'm the managing editor of Dave Campbell's Texas Football Magazine, TexasFootball.com, a corresponding website. Thank you for spending part of your day with us. Whether you're watching us live on TexasFootball.com, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, all the places, or you listen to us on the podcast, which you can subscribe to on the podcast vendor of your choice. Either way, thank you for doing your part to support your local, mediocre internet show. I am sitting over there at the helm today, making us sound good. She is the Duchess of the Dorks. She is Ashley Pickle.
Howdy.
How you holding up?
I'm going.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're surviving and thriving.
I like your Lano shirt.
Oh, thank you. It's their back-to-back district championship shirt from
Rad.
This year. My Trish got it for me.
Very
Shout
cool.
out Trish.
Excellent. Today is Tuesday, March 1st, 2022.
Yeet.
It's March Madness.
Yeet.
268 days till Thanksgiving. Happy birthday to the Biebs.
Oh, nice.
Justin Bieber's 28 today.
I saw him in concert when I was in 8th grade. Sean Kingston was his opener.
When you were in 8th grade, so he was like...
It was old school, like, Bieber swoop. Voice hadn't dropped yet.
Boy, I was
Bieber,
gonna say,
like
he's probably
good
like
Bieber.
16,
Yeah,
15.
it was awesome.
Oof. Anyway,
Heartthrob.
he's 28 now. He's only 5'9", though. Episode 1341. On today's show, mis amigos y mis amigas, we are going to celebrate Math Tuesday.
Math Tuesday.
By talking about some of the most prolific playmakers in the state of Texas and which teams had the most of them. We'll kind of talk about that, what we mean. In back half of the show, we caught up with the head coach of the Wichita Falls Coyotes, Coach Grant Freeman. We'll hear from him, Texan Live's own Grant Freeman.
He makes you look short. He makes a lot of people look short.
He makes everyone look short.
He's really tall.
He's a tall dude. Tall and, like, slender.
Yeah.
Like, at least if you're going to be tall, at least have the, like, wherewithal to be a big guy. Like, instead, like, that's just super selfish.
Are you calling him scrawny?
No.
Because I feel like he could...
No, he would whip me.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is, I need you, if you're going to be that tall, I need you to be big, tall, and fat. You know what I mean?
That's fine.
He's not.
No.
Because then it's like, well, you know. It's big and tall. He's just big all around. Say he's just tall. Anyway, we'll talk Grant Freeman. Coming up here at the back half of the program. Do we have first four through the door?
We sure do. It was Rob Hadaway, Aaron Arbuckle, Coach Terry Crawford, who is working on his questionnaire as we speak.
Better be.
Shout out. And Daniel Agnew, welcome in, fellas. Also, to clear something up, no, giving up TFT would not be good for Lent. Let's not do that. We do not support that.
Yeah, don't do that.
Jesus wants you to watch TFT.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Jesus told us so. This I know.
We did send out the questionnaire last night, and by last night I mean like 1 in the morning I sent out the email. If you're a coach and you're watching or you're listening and you haven't gotten your questionnaire, you can email me or slide into my DMs or whatever, and I'll make sure we get to you or get in touch with Step. We'll make sure we get you the questionnaire. We appreciate we've already got like bunch of coaches.
Let's go. They said they don't. Well, Coach Terry Crawford said that he doesn't want a reminder email from you. So I think that they like the fact that they don't have to hear from you again if they just get it done.
If you get it done, you hear from me one time. If you don't get it done,
I blow up your spot.
I get progressively
more aggressive.
Like, you guys think this is annoying. Wait until you're like 3 weeks late on the questionnaire, and then I am hitting you all the time.
Let me tell you, from a person that sees him every day.
It's tough.
Get it in.
It's tough seeing it. All right, Pickle, it's time for Math Tuesday.
Math Tuesday.
Here on Math Tuesday, we're going to take a look at some individual statistical leaders. And what got me thinking about this was our conversation. What
got the hamster going?
Our conversation yesterday. Yesterday, we had Moses Patterson, the head coach at McAllen Memorial, on to talk about his Mustangs. The first year he was an interim coach. He's no longer the interim coach because they won 11-2. But one of the things I remarked upon was the individual playmakers that he had offensively. Most notably, they were one of 6 teams that had 3 1,000-yard rushers.
That is insane.
That's pretty crazy. 6 UIL 11-man teams that had 3 1,000-yard rushers. They had, let's see if I can find them real quickly. I have them on the spreadsheet. It was Max Alanas Choi, Ethan Castillo, and Marcos de la Cruz. Each went for over 1,000 yards. And so I got to thinking about that and those kind of milestones. And one of the things I asked you, and I asked Ish, and I asked Will yesterday in the office, I go, let's talk about what constitutes a good year. Like if you have an exceptional year as a running back, an exceptional year as a receiver, an exceptional year as a quarterback.
And we all threw out the same number, which was cool.
We all kind of came to a consensus. And so first of all, I think we all agreed that if you're at 1,000-yard rusher, you did pretty good.
You ran a lot.
Exactly right. In fact, there were only, and I know this is going to sound like a big number, but it's actually like not that big of a number. There were only 408 UIL 11-man players who went for over 1,000 yards. Wow. 408. So if you assume that, like, let's just say that there's only
1,200 schools and then all the running backs in between.
Right, exactly right. 408 players went over 1,000 yards. Do you know who was the state's leading rusher?
Who?
I'll give you a guess.
Malcolm Murphy?
No. Malcolm Murphy was close. But it was, the other problem with Malcolm Murphy was that he was splitting carries with a bunch of guys. Well,
yes.
Who was it?
Caden Roden?
No. The answer was Reuben Owens.
Oh.
Reuben Owens was the state's leading
sense.
rusher, 2,989 yards. Nearly got to 3,000 yards. Second was Ernest Davila, rather, at Poteet. Third was Cutter Wilson at Brock. Fourth was Marquise Collins at College Station. And fifth was L.J. Martin at Canutillo. But those are guys who are individual superstars. I'm talking about a stable of backs. And so we mentioned it. Let's throw up the graphic. There were 6 teams that had 3 1,000-yard rushers in 2021. Crosby did. Quincy Jones, Cameron Kirkwood, and Ciaran Miles each went for over 1,000 yards, including 2 guys who went over 1,300. Franklin's the one that I think everybody probably could have guessed. Malcolm Murphy, Bobby Washington, Bryson Washington each went for over 1,000 yards. In fact, they each went for more than 1,400 yards.
They run the slot T, and they run it well.
Pretty nuts. Quinlan Ford, or rather, we'll start with Lubbock Roosevelt. Lubbock Roosevelt had a 2,000-yard rusher in Alex Trevino and another pair of 1,000-yard backs in that kind of wild wing T offense that they ran. McAllen Memorial, we mentioned it in talking with Moses Patterson yesterday. Max Allen is Choi, Ethan Castillo, and Marcos de la Cruz. This one's interesting. Quinlan Ford was the only team to have 2 2,000-yard backs.
Yeah, that's insane.
Caden Roden, Randy Rowan, and Jadonovan Williams each went for over 1,000. But Randy Rowan had 1,100, and then Caden Roden and Jadonovan Williams had 2,200. That is pretty nutso. And then there was Wascom out east, T.J. Feaster, Tashawn Hamilton, and Cole Watson. One thing that I think is interesting about that, I am fairly certain, let me make sure I'm not putting my foot in my mouth, as I am wont to do.
Juniors?
Watson's a sophomore, Tashawn Hamilton's a junior. So 2 of those guys at least are coming back.
Yeah, I'll let you know how heavy that run game state semifinal was between Franklin and Wascom. We were there to watch it. It was nuts.
Yes, it really was. So there you go. There were 6 teams that had 3 1,000-yard rushers. And I think we all agree 1,000 yards in the season, you had a pretty darn good season.
Yeah, that's kind of the staple of excellence there.
So then we kind of asked ourselves, hey, Self, what is a great year for a receiver? And what we started with one number, and then there were too many of them. Yeah. And so I narrowed it down even further. We started with 800. I narrowed it down to 1,000. 1,000-yard receiver.
Wow, there were enough.
There were, and so there were 117 1,000-yard receivers.
Okay, that shocked us because, we all came in very adamant on 800 makes you a pretty stinking good receiver.
We're talking elite.
Yeah, absolutely.
117 1,000-yard receivers in UIL 11-man football this year, including the state's leading receiver. Do you know who it was? He's on this graphic. Coy Aiken. 93 catches, 2,140 yards, 31 touchdowns. He was the state's leading receiver. Second was Caden Kaufman at Mount Vernon. Third was Lonnie Atkinson at Corpus Christi Miller. Fourth was Pilot Point's Aiden Cox. And fifth was El Paso Eastwood's Curtis Murillo. But what about 2 1,000-yard receivers? There were 10 teams that had 2 1,000-yard receivers. Byron Nelson in the DFW Metroplex with Landon Ransom goals and Gavin McCurley. Dangerfield had 2, and Aaron Hampton, who, by the way, he's like an 8th grader or something. Or I want to say he's super young. But in any case, he's Aaron Hampton, C.J. Gilbert. Dublin had a pair, Christian Ramirez and Cooper Hubble. That's actually 1,250. El Paso Chapin, Timothy Pastron, and Anthony Rivera. El Paso Eastwood, the aforementioned Curtis Murillo and Aaron Rodriguez both went over 1,000 yards. Leander Rouse had a pair of them in Troy Oliver and Jalen Becerra. Marlin, Darian Gillette, and Trajan Butler. I want to say that Darian Gillette I know is coming back, and then Trajan Butler I believe might be underclassman as well. Prosper had a pair of them,
and they could both run.
Yeah, Tyler Bailey and Houston Hawkins were both over 1,000 yards. Spring had a pair of them, and Travis Sims and Caden Bradley, and then the aforementioned Stephenville with Reese Elston, and then the state's leading receiver in Coy Aiken. So there were 10 teams that had 2,000-yard receivers in 2021. And so now here's what I want to do. Is I want to take I want to talk about balance, and I want to talk about having all the weapons, okay? So we mentioned there were a 1,000-yard rusher, pretty good year.
Yes.
1,000-yard receiver, pretty good year. And I would say if you have a 2,500-yard passer, you're doing pretty good. There were only 97 2,500-yard passers this year, okay? Now, obviously, the passer and the receiver are going to be tied together, but there were only 25 teams that had a 2,500-yard passer, a 1,000-yard rusher, and a 1,000-yard receiver. I think some of these are not necessarily surprising. I don't think
the two at the bottom left corner.
Correct. Right.
Rockwall and Rockwall Heath, not surprising.
Both had 1,000-yard. Both had that trio.
Westlake,
right?
not surprising.
Westlake, not a surprise. Westlake had, of course, Cade Klubnik. They had their sophomore running back Jack Kaiser, and then they had their receiver Jaden Greathouse, all there. But there were a few. Gilmer also not a surprise on this
with
list,
Brandon
right?
Tennyson.
Lorena, not a surprise. Few of them. But there were a few of them that I think really surprised me. For example, did you know that Crandall had all three? With their quarterback, Jamonte Gordon-West, their running back, Chris Abram, and their wide receiver, Luke Moffitt. They went over. They had that triumvirate. I was kind of surprised to see that Seymour did the deal. Now, part of it is that they had, I believe, the state's only 2,500, 1,000 guy at quarterback in Keegan Gilbreth, sophomore. He threw for 2,900 yards, and he ran for 1,000 yards. They also had David Charo, a 1,400-yard receiver.
Is that Corpus Christi Miller?
That is Corpus Christi.
Wow, okay.
Corpus Christi Miller had the trio. Jaden Brown, the sophomore quarterback, was throwing to Lonnie Ackism, and then they also had a back in Ethan Greenwood who threw for 1,100 yards. I also thought it was interesting that, we talked on the last one about El Paso Eastwood and El Paso Chapin each had a pair of 1,000-yard receivers. El Paso Franklin had the trio. They had Cameron Bird at quarterback, they had Bo Sparks at wide receiver, and they had Miles McCorder at running back. They had the trio.
There were playmakers out there in the 915 this year.
There certainly were. And so you look up and down there, it is an interesting mix of teams. Millsap did the deal. Millsap.
Let's go.
Lawson Nairn, the quarterback, was a 3,000-yard receiver. Isaac Bordelais was on the other side, and they had an 1,800-yard rusher in Waylon Dunn. So that's what I thought was particularly interesting, was taking a look at which teams were able to do a little bit of everything. Have that 2,500-yard passer, the 1,000-yard rusher, and the 1,000-yard receiver. It's a short list. There's only 25 of them that were able to do it. To have all of those things, and obviously a lot of underclassmen, right? A lot of underclassmen on this list as well. So I thought that was a little interesting to dig into on that Tuesday, was which teams had the highest concentration of big-time playmakers. You can find that. I'm going to put a piece up on TexasFootball.com coming up, talking about Texas high school football's most prolific playmakers and where they were most concentrated. But yeah, I thought that was pretty.
That is very interesting.
By the way, do you know who the state's leading passer was? We talked about receiver and rusher. Do you know who the state's leading passer was?
I mean, it's got to be Klubnik, right? No,
because remember, he missed a bunch of games.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Won a state championship, underclassman. How about that?
Oh, man.
Throwing to the state's leading receiver.
Oh, Ryder Lambert?
42.75. He led the state in passing. Second was Andrew Martinez, El Paso Eastwood. Third was Chris Teaton at Dublin. He was the only other 4,000-yard passer.
Wow.
Jackson Arnold was fourth, and Jacob Wilson from Byron Nelson was fifth. By the way, 4 of those top 5 receivers or quarterbacks, and 7 of the top 10 juniors.
Yeah, I was fixing to say, no, I didn't realize that. I don't know why. I just put together that whole piece. I thought Ryder was a senior the whole time. That's crazy.
Desmond Woodson at Marlin, Braden Bennett at Mount Vernon, Mason Shorb at Leander Rouse, Jacob Wilson at Byron Nelson, Jackson Earl at Denton Geyer, Chris Teaton at Dublin, and Ryder Lambert at Stephenville. All in the top 10 passers in the state. All underclass.
Which is so funny because think about what we've been talking about for the last 2 years is how good the quarterback class of 2022 was with Klubnik, with what was supposed to be Quinn Ewers, all of that. And then it's like they're like, hi, guys, we're not going anywhere.
And by the way, that doesn't count Ashton Dubose, Keldrick Luster, Jaden Brown, who's a sophomore, Corpus Christi Miller, Jason Thompson, Austin Novosad, Connor Cuff, Bo Edmondson. I mean, the list goes on and on. If you're looking for... There is a really good young crop of quarterbacks that are going to be seniors and, in some cases, juniors this year. The future's super bright in Texas high school football.
That is exciting.
Anyway, I'll piece up on TexasFootball.com. We're at Texas Football today. We're here every weekday at noon on TexasFootball.com, talking football in the Lone Star State. You can follow us on Twitter at TCTF, like us on Facebook, Facebook.com/Dave Campbell's. Follow us on Instagram, Instagram.com/Dave Campbell's, and, of course, see us at TexasFootball.com. TexasFootball.com is where you can find complete coverage of high school football, college football, and recruiting all across the Lone Star State. I sure hope you will consider going to TexasFootball.com/subscribe. Get your loved one a Mardi Gras gift.
Yes.
A Texas football subscription. TexasFootball.com/subscribe.
Also, if you start doing it now, we can guarantee that you'll get the summer magazine and you won't be late.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Like, that's the best thing to do is do it now so
done.
you don't forget and then go, oh, shoot, I want my magazine.
Are you this kind of person? Are you the kind of person who, this is kind of like it's like a backdoor sales pitch. Are you the kind of person who likes to pay for something and then forget you ordered it and then it shows up and
you get surprised?
Yes.
Absolutely.
I did that. There was a photographer in El Paso who was putting together a calendar. Like it was like a wall calendar of like great shots from around El Paso. And I was like, oh, it's like October. It's like, oh yeah, I'm gonna buy that. Forgot about it. Obviously, football season happened. Like January 2nd, it showed up on my door. I was like, oh
my
yeah.
God, I got an El Paso calendar.
You can have that if you go to TexasFootball.com/subscribe today. Become a Dave Campbell's Texas Football Insider. Pickle, a couple of years ago, we caught up with the head coach of not years, just a couple days,
weeks,
months. The head coach of the Wichita Falls Coyotes, Coach Grant Freeman. Coach Freeman is Texan Live's own.
Dave Campbell's Texan Live, boy.
He was on the call for China Spring and Carthage.
Yeah, the game.
He was excellent on it. We talk a little bit about that, plus his Coyotes, and the future there in Wichita Falls ISD, which is very interesting. Here's my conversation with Wichita Falls head coach Grant Freeman here on Texas Football Today. Dave Campbell's Texas Football here at the DFW Coaches Clinic in Grapevine, here with broadcaster Grant Freeman. You may remember him from his call of the Carthage versus China Spring regional semifinal matchup on TexanLive.com. Do you have a straight gig?
I do. I am, by day, I am the head coach at Wichita Falls High School.
Right. I remember that.
But by night, color commentator extraordinaire.
Okay.
So what a game that was.
You know I don't like to compliment you.
I know.
But I think you did a pretty good job.
Thank you.
I thought you were pretty good. All right, Jeff Rayburn is adjusting our camera.
Jeff Rayburn's got a job secondary job now too, camera operator.
Yeah, he's operating the camera. This is good. We got the full Texan Live crew
here.
This is great.
We are doing this multitasking.
Rayburn, you're hired, dude. All right. It was a great game. You got to have a grab tootie. And I think people may not know this, but like there was a time where broadcasting was before you decided to get a real job as a coach.
Correct.
Being part of the Leering Press was something you were thinking about, right?
Yeah, so I had the opportunity coming out of college. I did some radio for Angelo State University, the Harvard on the Concho, as we like to call it. But got to do some color. Did a little play-by-play for a while as well. Figured out that was not for me. But really loved it, man. I absolutely loved it. And so then when I got back in the booth for the Carthage China Spring team, I was so fired up. It was so much fun. And of course, when you got a good game, it kind of calls itself.
It was a great game. And also, I mean, you can say that you called a game for the state champions.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
So really,
you're the reason they won the state championship. I don't think there's really any. That's an A to B thing.
So are they sending me a ring?
We can.
Mr. Bell, Mr. Beatty, who just now got the job.
Are they? I was gonna say, yeah, you're
size 9.
Yeah,
size 9.
All right, let's talk some Coyotes football.
Yeah.
How would you take a look when you take a look at last year, the 2021 season? How would you assess the way that you guys were able to come through that?
So it was a strange year for us. We got into it, and by district time, we were on our 3rd quarterback. And so it was such a weird up and down, broken season. Got on a roll there in district, got into the playoffs, and then had just a tough first-round matchup with Grapevine. It was a great game, and then we had just a catastrophic injury. Our quarterback had a catastrophic injury there. And they went on and won a couple of more playoff games. Kudos to them. And so it's such a weird year for us, but anytime you end in the playoffs, that's a success. And then we look forward to, going forward, getting to drop down a division and see what we can make noise in 4A Division 1.
Yeah, you mentioned hanging with a team like Grapevine and being in that, good team that, I believe regional finalists maybe,
Correct.
something like that. Is that something that is you guys are talking about in the locker room? Be like, guys, look, we can hang with anybody that we're here with. Is that something you guys are harping on?
I think you have to with your kids. We talk to our kids all the time about being able to just play the team across from you, and so you don't look at rankings or things like that. And we have to play a tough schedule. We had Lubbock Cooper and Ryder in our division, and so we just try to go out and play. Played well with Grapevine, and then we bring back 26 kids, from a team that was playing very well over the last few years in 5A, and we're excited about the future and the small future that Wichita Falls High School has over the last 2 years of its existence over the next 2.
That is interesting. For those who don't know, you guys are going to consolidate,
correct?
And so I'm interested in how what those types of conversations are like, because it's obviously a little bit different, There's not, 3 years from now, you can't really project out. So what, how is that vibe right now at the school?
So one of the things that I've talked about with our kids and our coaches as well is, we're all excited for the new schools to hit and for that to come, but we can't be worried about 3 years. We can't spend all of our time worrying about 3 years from now, and we lose what we've got in the next couple of years. And so we try to keep, while we're excited about the future, we're really more focused on the present and the job that we have to do over the next 2.
All right, and you mentioned you guys are dropping down. Realignment comes out next week. Who knows what the UIL is drawn up for you? I've heard the Rio Grande Valley. I don't know how much you like driving.
We are used to driving. We've seen the Panhandle over the last few years, so why not Rio Grande Valley? It'll be fine for us. I think that's just just a couple hours down.
Yeah, it's a hop, skip, and a jump. I think there's a notion that people are going to look at that and say, oh, 5A down to 4A. Things get easier. Mm-hmm. You of all people know that's not the case.
Correct.
You guys are moving in there. How do you make sure that your kids don't fall into that trap of thinking, hey, we're dropping down a classification, things are going to be a lot easier?
Yeah, so I've had some experience with that at Springtown and at Brownwood, and I don't think that you can – I think that too many people worry about the classifications and moving those. We didn't lose any kids. Our number is actually higher than what it was when we were at the last realignment. So we just have to continue to do business as usual. We have to tell the kids and keep it a week-to-week mindset that we're going to focus on the opponent. We're really going to focus on ourselves first, then we're going to focus on opponents as we get down the line. And I think if you can keep that with your kids and your coaches, then you'll be fine no matter what classification you're playing in.
All right, and finally, one thing that I think is of note is that you did, of course, call that regional semifinal game, Carthage and China Spring, but you were only available for that because you guys weren't playing anymore.
Right.
So my question is, do you wish that you would never call another football game for Texan Life?
I do. I would like to be on the sidelines with a different headset on. However, it is so much fun, and you and I have talked about this before. I love getting the opportunity to do that. So anytime we have Thursday night games and you guys need a game or whatever, but I'd much rather the coach's headset to the broadcaster headset, but I will take them both.
We got to figure out when your bye week is.
Correct. Yeah. I guess we need to talk again this Thursday.
We got to figure out when his bye week is. He can call another game.
Yeah, it'll be great.
Grant Freeman, Wichita Falls coach.
Appreciate you.
Thanks so much
There
for
he is,
watching
Grant
that
Freeman.
video.
Whoa!
Whoa, I don't like that.
That's
Not good.
His face just melted into mine.
Less than ideal. Ew.
Hey, Grant Freeman.
It started off good.
Started off great. Great interview.
I meant seeing my face, and then it morphed into yours, and then stuff got bad.
Oh, well, I'm sorry. I like
It
Grant.
started off great.
Oh, I like Grant Freeman. I guess that's, your mileage may vary, I guess, but I like him a lot. Good dude. Anyway, appreciate Grant Freeman, head coach of those Wichita Falls Coyotes, hopping on with us while we were at the DFW coaching clinic a few weeks ago. Let's go over to Ashley Pickle for America's second favorite segment. Final thoughts.
So we're gonna start doing something different with Mailbag Friday, where we want to go ahead and have the questions ready to go for Mailbag Friday. So I have put, if you'll go to texasfootball.com/forums, I have put up a topic where you can drop your Mailbag Friday questions. So if you think of random things throughout the week, just go to our forum pages and you can drop it in there. We'll put one up every single week, but the one for this week is currently up now.
No show tomorrow.
No show tomorrow. That's true. That is also true.
I'm out. Pickle's out. We got to go do a thing. But can I read you an email I got today? So we sent out the questionnaire.
Are you allowed to read
Yeah,
this
I'm not
email?
going to say the name,
Okay.
but
Sure.
I'll just give out his
It's not my
his
fault if
social
you get
security
fired.
number.
Okay.
But we sent out the questionnaire this morning to all the coaches in the state,
Mhm.
and so we certainly hope you'll fill it out. Please, I don't want to chase you down, and I will. I'm like the T1000. I really am.
Well, what actually
when it comes
happens
to this,
is
I am like the T1000.
what actually happens is eventually they send me out there to beat people up.
That's exactly right.
And I've only got one arm, so I'm ready to go.
For now,
Yeah.
I mean, just wait because she's saving up all her strength.
Yes.
I won't say who he's from because I didn't get permission to say his name, but this is the head coach in the state of Texas. Good morning, DCTF. Thank you so much. And I just sent him he is one of 1,400 coaches I sent this to. So
Mhm.
this is not there are a lot of people who got the same email.
Yes.
Good morning, DCTF. Thank you so much. As a young man growing up watching Texas high school football, then actually getting an opportunity to play Texas high school football, and the ultimate opportunity now to become an athletic director and head football coach in the state of Texas, it is a blessing and a dream come true. We used to go to HEB and grab copies of the magazine like it was going out of style. And if our name wasn't in there, go back and tell our head football coach that we weren't in the Dave Campbell's magazine. You guys do a great job maintaining this Texas tradition. God bless you. Please stay in touch. And then he signs it, which is very cool.
Let's go.
And it's that's very cool, and I get that every once in a while coaches will say that. They'll say, I'm really excited to fill out the questionnaire.
Yeah.
Which is so weird because I'm asking you to do work.
Yeah.
But it's because they grew up with it. It's
Mhm.
because it's part of their, I say all the time, it's a touchstone in people's lives. And to be a part of it and to be like, I get to submit a questionnaire, that's cool. That's cool. I love hearing from coaches who view it as an honor to send in their information.
Well, absolutely. And I think any time that just normal human nature is to like to know how the sausage gets made, kind of, how does this work behind the scenes? And so to get to do that is really cool, too.
Just to be
That's
part
awesome.
Of it. Just to be part of a Texas tradition.
Those emails like that are what, keep you up at, 1 o'clock, keep you going at, 1 o'clock in the morning when you're reading or editing or designing or whatever pages.
Yeah,
that helps.
That and coffee.
Yeah.
It's going to do it for us. Remember, no show tomorrow. Thanks for spending a little bit of your day with us. Follow us on Twitter at DCTF. Like us on Facebook, facebook.com/Dave Campbell's. Follow us on Instagram, instagram.com/Dave Campbell's. And, of course, see us at texasfootball.com. Thanks again to Grant Freeman, the head coach of the Wichita Falls Coyotes, for being our guest. For Ashley Pickle, I'm Greg Tepper. Vince Young, please get your Player of the Year trophy. We'll see you Thursday. Texas Football Today.